Mick Schumacher, the son of Michael Schumacher, will officially be headed to F1 in 2021 to drive for the Haas F1 team. And unfortunately, it looks like some of the issues that have been happening in NASCAR with the COVID-19 from 2020 looks like they will be bleeding into 2021 as there will be limited capacity for the 2021 Daytona 500. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We got a few racing stories we discuss in today's episode. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first story we're going to talk about is Rick Ware Racing, as they officially have a full-time sponsor for the 2021 season. That big announcement Rick Ware Racing has been teasing has officially been announced. Nurtec is going to sponsor Rick Ware Racing for the full 2021 season. Now, according to Rick Ware and Cody Ware themselves on their Twitter, apparently there are a lot more announcements coming, but this was apparently the big announcement that has been teased for the last couple days. It is really cool to see that Rick Ware Racing is getting full-time sponsorship. I know we always make jokes about how Rick Ware Racing is arguably the slowest team on the racetrack, and they're usually really slow on the racetrack. That being said, it's really cool to see a small team like this be able to get full-time sponsorships, and I'm really glad that Rick Ware Racing will have full-time sponsorship for the 2020 season in one of their cars. Just we put somebody good in there, like a Garrett Smith, maybe Smithley, I don't know. Please don't put Joey Gase in there. Gase is really not that great if we're going to be honest. If we're going to be truthful here. So, yeah, really cool that Rick Ware Racing's got full-time sponsorship, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of the announcements for Rick Ware Racing are regarding NASCAR and maybe IndyCar, because they might be headed to IndyCar as well in 2021 in some sort of capacity. On to the next story. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, Mick Schumacher will be officially headed to Haas F1 in the 2021 season. Mick Schumacher, for those of you who know, is the son of arguably one of the greatest Formula 1 drivers ever, Michael Schumacher, and there is a lot of hype around Mick Schumacher as his father, again, is the greatest driver. Now, a lot of people, including myself, are extremely excited that he is headed to F1, but I also want to say this too. I'm not expecting Mick Schumacher in his first year to really put up a lot of numbers, and it's not because he's not a talented driver. Mick Schumacher, I think, is a very talented driver that's come up through the Formula ladder, I should say. So he's done a lot in his way up through the ladder. The thing is, he's not driving in a good car. The Haas F1 cars are from the Ferrari plant, and if you've seen the Ferrari and the Haas teams, they've not been that good. I don't expect Mick Schumacher to put up a lot of strong performances. I could see a few points positions for sure, but I don't think that Mick Schumacher overall, he's going to go out there in a championship with Haas cars. I hate to tell you this. But if he eventually gets good enough and does really well, and actually impresses me, I think he could impress me. But the thing is, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on Mick. I think a lot of people need to not do the same. I don't want to see people putting too much pressure on Mick because he is a son. And if he does not do as good as his father did in F1, don't be disappointed, especially in his first season when he's not driving in a good car. These are inferior cars. These are not great cars in F1, and Haas has generally struggled this year because Ferrari struggled and their development team for Ferrari. That being said, if Mick Schumacher eventually does good enough, he could eventually go over to Ferrari, even though they do next year of Carlos Sainz Jr., and once again, Charles Leclerc returning to the team. Again, Carlos Sainz is probably begging, why did I go over to this team? Because he would have went there in 2019, he would have done great. In the future, if Mick Schumacher does really well, he could eventually, go over that team, help that team grow, and put up some strong performances. If he does that, he will be a future sensation in F1. But again, I don't want people putting too much pressure on Mick. Please don't put pressure on that. That would really appreciate it. But yeah, really cool news here. Mick Schumacher's finally going to F1. It's one of F1's biggest secrets that's been kept for the silly season, and he's officially finally headed to Haas F1 in 2021. And now on to the next big story. The Daytona 500, unfortunately, will be having limited capacity for the Daytona 500. They did not give the number currently that what they're going to, but it is right now, there's been a lot of discussion that they're looking at 50% capacity for the Daytona 500. Fans will be reseated at new locations. They're going to look at looking at what they're going to locate these new fans. And reseating process is expected to be complete by early January. The only fans that are going to have any access to the infield are going to be fans who purchase with camping, and you have to basically sanitize your camping grounds and make sure you have bathrooms available. I think that's the case. Here's one thing to know. You have till December 11th to opt out, which would be deferred to 2022. So if you don't go to Daytona 500 and you're not part of this reseating process, that's going to take place, you don't like your seat, you might not attend the 2020 Daytona 500, but you could have an opportunity to move to the 2022 Daytona 500 and keep the same ticket. So that's really cool. And masks are to be required when you're in the facility. So if you're going to this event, masks are to be required in this race. So make sure you bring your mask. The only people that don't have to wear a mask are the people that are at the camping areas. But everyone will be social distanced in the camping areas, so there won't be masks. It will not need to be required for those events. Let me just say this. I'm disappointed by this, but I'm not surprised. I kind of expected this, if we're going to be honest, and I'm kind of surprised they waited this long to kind of make an announcement as big as this. I think people need to be prepared just in case that there is a possibility that they could reduce it to 0 fans. But again, I don't expect them to officially go to 0 fans altogether for this event. We're in Florida. And another thing, too, is that a lot of people think, oh, this is the government's decision. Remember, Ron DeSantis basically opened everything up completely. This is NASCAR's decision. NASCAR made a decision to have all fans available to go to the event if they chose to do that. NASCAR made a decision where there is going to be limited capacity for the event. So some people are definitely upset by this, and we saw people on Twitter talking about this and all over in general. Again, like I said, I am disappointed by this, but I'm not surprised that they did this. Again, I think they made the right decision by it limiting the capacity. I think it's going to probably end up being 50% capacity. They're also probably looking at what the Super Bowl is looking at, so this could end up going to 20% capacity for Daytona 500. Again, I think if you've already purchased your tickets, I think you're going to be good to go. Like I said, you can decide if you don't want to go. You can opt out for the 2022, but again, you have to write that in by December 11th. So you basically have 9 days or 8 days from now to basically opt out on that. Again, limited capacity, a really, really massive story. Again, we're starting to see some of the 2020 effects bleeding into 2021. And again, because another big thing is a lot of people are saying, well, why are they doing this now? Isn't there a vaccine coming really, really soon? You have to remember that this vaccine is only going to be lent to the frontline workers and the health workers. This vaccine is expected to maybe be available to the public in March and April, but no one really knows what's going on. So again, the vaccine is not expected to be ready till expected to be March or April, though they are supposed to be rolling out some sort of vaccines by December. They're not expected to really have the vaccine out till March or April. So that's really the big reason right there. I really hope we don't go to 0 capacity. I hope we can keep it at least 50% capacity so the Daytona 500 can still have that atmospheric nature that the Daytona 500 has. And if you're already going to Daytona 500, got your tickets, you should be pretty happy because you're going to still get to go to one of the greatest races ever this year, the Daytona 500. And now we're going to get on to the final story of this episode. And this one caught me by surprise. Brett Moffitt is going to be driving the number 45 car for Nice Motorsports, the Nice Motorsports truck, in 2021. And he will compete full-time for the Truck Series points. Now, something really interesting, he's also competing full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series 4-Hour Motorsports. Now, people think, oh, Brett Moffitt's going to have a shot to win the Trucks Championship. Let's just remember this one thing. This is not the same Nice Motorsports team that there was around 2 years ago. Nice Motorsports in 2019, they had GMS backing. This team does not have GMS backing. They've been doing it on their own in 2020. So that's why, again, this is not going to be a championship caliber move. I don't think Brett Moffitt will win the championship this year. I think he will be, again, he will have some strong runs in the Truck Series. I think he definitely will be more competitive with this team than if he was at Our Motorsports, though. Again, I'm a little bit surprised that he's running full-time in the Truck Series. Like I said, I expected him to run full-time in the Xfinity Series, and I think this is a really big shocker. Again, I don't 100% get why he's doing this. I really would think, hey, why would I just run in the NASCAR, Xfinity Series full-time and compete in the points for that instead of racing, in the Truck Series again? I guess he can't just stop getting away from the Truck Series. And he's kind of pulling a Timmy Hill and a Ross Chastain away, because Timmy Hill this year in 2020, he basically ran all 3 series and tried to run every single race that he could. He's running the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. Again, Our Motorsports is still a new team, which it makes a little bit of sense why he's running for the Trucks ones, but I'm still a little bit confused as to why this is the case. And a lot of people think, oh, he'll get that GMS backing. That's not the case. Brett Moffitt is not going to get GMS backing. They kind of had a falling out, I believe, and they're not going to probably get GMS backing, unfortunately. But again, one of my expectations for Brett Moffitt drive for Nice Motorsports, I think he'll get 1 or 2 wins. I think he will make the plus. I think he will be the best performing driver. I think he will also be able to help Carson and Ryan Truex. As a veteran of that series, he can help Ryan Truex and Carson Osberg become really good drivers for the NASCAR Truck Series. I think he will be a really good help for both of those drivers. And again, it's cool that Brian Moffitt is coming back, but I am a little bit confused as to why he is going back full-time in the Truck Series again. But at the same time, cool to see that he will be returning to the Truck Series in the 2021 Truck Series season. So, anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR and F1 news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications, so give you notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Links are below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. How do you feel about the Daytona 500 having limited capacity? Do you agree with the decision or not? Let me know in the comments below. And how excited are you for the Mick Schumacher heading to Haas F1 in 2021? How well do you think he will perform? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.